Hello, everybody. Today we have a very interesting fragrance to discuss. It is going to be a bit odd. It's going to be a weird one. So buckle in and strap your seatbelts up. Let's go for a weird ride on this perfume train. Today we're discussing this guy. It's about half empty. I've had it for a long time. And somehow I just had an urge to talk about it because I thought it was worthy of it. And I was in the mood to talk about it. It is Calypso from REVEIW. It is a fragrance that is most certainly counted as a niche fragrance. So for all of you guys that want me to review sweetie teeny bopper current releases, you may want to skip this video because there's going to be some heavy stuff here. And this is not a fragrance that most people will like, and I'm telling you guys right away, because sometimes I get messages like, oh, I'm very curious, I'm going to order it. Specifically, you know, many scents, and I will specify that and do specify that in every single fragrance video, is like, okay, this is kind of on the safer side for gifting or for buying blind. But a lot of scents aren't. This certainly is nowhere close to being safe to a blind buy. I would highly discourage you to try it as a blind buy, because I think this is so unique that it can elicit a love it or hate it response. And I'm going to go ahead and guess that probably it is quite binary in terms of distribution of how people might react to it, meaning that some people might really love it and think it's just the most special and interesting thing ever. And some people will say, this smells disgusting. Why would anybody bottle that as a fragrance? So that's why those like really dualistic scents that I think are quite polarizing are worth mentioning, specifically in terms of just insuitability to purchasing blindly. Please don't. I think you could have a major regret with that one because it is not cheap. This REVEIW is not a cheap brand. So seek this out. I think it's worth seeking out because it is so interesting, and test it first. So that being out of the way, and I wanted to get that out of the way first, we're going to go in the following sequence, which I generally follow when I'm doing my perfume reviews. We're going to talk about the scent, when it was released, who composed it, and then we're going to go into manufacturer's notes. Then I'm going to tell you what I smell and what is most prominent in the scent. And then I'll describe a person I think might be wearing it. The scent palette that was appreciated in the 50s is not the same as the scent palette that is being appreciated now. Currently, we're in a perfume making era where we have the perfume aficionados who really enjoy all of the niche, interesting perfume creations and will pay for that. But the majority of the populace, what is popular currently is really the sweetie, teeny bopper sort of thing, where you have, and you know, I am putting designer fragrances in the same category because they're all after profit, and what is profitable in selling right now is sweet, edible, lots of gourmands, lots of fruitulis, lots of fruity edibles, and some florals. And some fresh scents are still getting released every once in a while, but really, like, this is the scent palette that we have right now, and that's okay. It's just our time. This is just what our time is doing. It's lasting too long for my taste. I wish that the palette was switching already, and maybe it will soon. I have a feeling that we will be shifting into a little bit of a more interesting territory, but quite frankly, I'm sick of all this sweetie, fruity thing that is being released. So kind of that tiredness and fatigue from the current releases that are sort of all the same, or very similar to each other and create very similar sensations and thoughts. I have pulled for this because I was just feeling so discouraged with the current releases. Some of them are wonderful and great, and I'm very grateful to have tried, but so much out there in the perfume world is just such a snooze fest of sweet vanillas that it creates a gag reflex. So that's why I pulled for this guy, because this is pretty far on the other end of the spectrum. This is a weird, slightly heroin chic kind of feel, and absolutely does not fill that same category of sweetie, teeny bopper, edible, vanilla, bakery, yumminess, maybe a bit of coffee thrown into it sort of thing, with the floral top and maybe a little bit of woody bottom with vanilla. Like, this is not that for sure. Like, this is the opposite, which is why I pulled for it, and which is why I kind of wanted to film a video talking about it, because it's interesting enough. So the perfumer who composed it was Aurélien Guichard. He's a pretty prominent fragrance maker, a nose, and what he was trying to portray and what the brand is talking about is it radiates romance, seductiveness, and power. I'm not sure about the romantic side of it. This is not a romantic fragrance for me. Including mystery and appeal of classical nymphs, hence the name Calypso, I'm assuming, from Greek mythology. I don't see all of that they're describing. The scent that they're describing is much more ethereal and romantic. There is definitely mystery here. There's power here. There's a few demons bottled into this little bottle. But I don't see the same picture of sexuality necessarily, or any kind of seductiveness. I think this fragrance is far past surpassing all of the, hi, please pay attention to me, I'm so sexy. That is something that this fragrance does not care to even consider. It's moved past the whole I want to be liked by other people thing for sure. It was relaunched in 2010, and I, in a very arrogant way, went and got myself 100 mils of it, maybe 4 years ago. So this is getting up there in age. Obviously, it has not gone bad. I'm very, very careful about storage of my fragrances. In terms of the pyramid, what the manufacturer tells us they say it has combination of fiery and lush flower layers. Top notes: mandarin and geranium, hard Bulgarian rose, orris root, and rose centiflora. In the base, we have patchouli, amber, suede. In fact, I think if you could boil down the understanding of what this fragrance brings to the table in terms of note composition, really we're talking about 3 major players here. Player number 1, rose. Rose is a powerful part of this fragrance. She is not a fresh, dewy, sunrise, beautiful spring rose. None of that present whatsoever. We're talking about a meaty rose that was dried upside down, plucked from some kind of a wedding bouquet somewhere, dried upside down until it's crimson, dark, almost black. And then maybe the petals were ripped off and dried between the pages of old vintage books somewhere in the basement, and then perhaps somebody glued those little petals together, and here we go. This is the type of rose we're talking about. We're talking about this dry, aged, very pragmatic rose. It's seen some things. This rose had been through it. She lost all illusion in life. She has conquered her ego. She has seen it all and done it all, and is a bit fatigued, leaning back in a leather chair, watching all the youngsters jumping around, thinking to herself, what a waste of life. And she's a little mean too. She's got a temper, and she does not let things get in her way. Then that's player number 1. Player number 2 is suede. The suede that is present here, and it's listed at the base of the ingredients, and I definitely smell specifically suede, not even leather. It's a processed, slightly rugged suede. For some reason, this lady, this person who's wearing this fragrance, smells like she has really old, well-worn suede gloves on. She's from the 50s, right? I used to wear those. And initially, you know how suede gloves are made to be plush and soft and beautiful and touchable? Not hers. Hers were made from rough suede leather, and had worn in over the years, over the decades, with the, you know, the palm creases and the finger creases, and it's all a bit hardened, and perhaps the fuzzy quality, the top layer of the suede, had been worn off on the palmar surface of the glove. It's very well utilized, and again, the gloves had been through some stuff as well. That slightly rough suede that is still rough at the edges or wherever it wasn't worn down, it's still a little stiff. And it's not the soft buttery kind. It's the rougher, I mean business, and maybe perhaps I've been to the cemetery digging a grave, burying somebody kind of gloves. And then the last player in here, I mean, it sounds pretty somber, but this is very interesting. All of this is very interesting, what's bottled in here. The third player to me is a super dirty, slightly filthy body, reminding you of the body. Slightly filthy patchouli. Patchouli is strong in here. It is the same kind of slightly dirty patchouli, or somewhat dirty patchouli, that is present in Angel. So you'll recognize it if you smell it in here. It's there. It's the same kind. It still has a bit of dirt in it from the forest. And it does remind you very, very slightly of the body, the smell of the human body. Maybe it's the touch bit sweaty. Again, quoting that this belongs on a human being. That human being has been wearing the scent. This is not all sterility here. This is real life. That's what it's basically telling you. And those three players are really what composes the bulk of the fragrance. Yeah, maybe there's something mildly geranium, floral sort of undertone going on, but really the scent tells you very directly what it is. And what it is a rose, patchouli, suede combo. If we're talking comparisons, then you might imagine this being the very hardcore grandma of Narciso Rodriguez, her, or for her. And that scent is much cleaner. It's much more elevated. It's a little bit less filthy and more romantic. It's a more sophisticated take. This is sophistication of Sodom. Some stuff went down in this life. Like there's some skeletons in the closet. Things have been pretty crazy. Pretty sure she tried heroin at some point in her life. But, you know, she's not a heroin addict. You won't find her under the bridge. But, you know, she's just seeing some stuff. She tried some shit. She's been busy living her life to the fullest. And she's been to many an orgy, this lady. The next step would be okay, this is taking a dark turn. The next step would be really to talk about what kind of a person wears it. And, you know, you might make fun of me for wearing half of this scent out. I have a love-hate relationship with it, especially because of the patchouli. Patchouli is my bane of my existence. I don't do well with patchouli. I probably wish I didn't purchase this scent because patchouli just is unpredictable on my skin. Sometimes it's like, oh, okay, very interesting, very cool. This is a cool effect. I can really dig it. And some days it's like just disgusting smelling on my skin. So patchouli is hard for me to digest, especially the dirty patchouli. Cleaner patchoulis don't have the same effect at all. But these vintage inspired dirty patchoulis, that's why I got rid of my Angel. I just couldn't take it anymore. Okay, the person who wears this possesses the same epithets that have brought my tongue to say that this person has probably seen some stuff. She loves luxury. She loves soft touchable materials, even though she has those nasty gloves. She possibly murdered somebody and dug a grave for them, as I mentioned before. She probably experimented with some psychedelics, maybe some powerful opioids. She's not an addict. She's just curious and wants to feel alive. This individual, she wants to feel alive. She'll do almost anything to feel alive. She probably has either a personality disorder or some kind of a depressive disorder, because she is melancholic. She's not quite happy, and she is a bit numb. That's why she goes for all those crazy adventures and does all those things that make her so emotionally worn out, because she wants a thrill. She's seeking walking on the edge. She wants to almost die, and that really makes her feel alive. Again, dark turn. Really, this review is getting more and more depressing. So did I want to talk about it? Because it is such a personality in there. It's a different person. It's not the revered, bubbly, happy, may I help you customer service, or agreeable, lovely, beloved by all cheerleader. Like she's emotionally damaged over here. It's interesting. I really wish there was more interesting approaches like that in perfumery, where you see the character developing, where it is something different, where it is something cool, where it is something that perhaps isn't mainstream. And Calypso is really not mainstream. So it's a rose, it's a patchouli rose with leather, which is a very classic combo. But the way it's made is just interesting. And I think that it will not be a perfume for most people, but I think a select few would probably try it and say, this is my new signature. This is how I feel inside. This is me. This embodies me. And I think there'd be a few people like that for sure out there listening. So try it out. If you're curious about the notes, if you're curious about the description, I'm so worried that I probably made it sound horrible. And it isn't. It's interesting. It's not horrible. And my perception might not even reflect how you feel when you smell it. But it is a deeper rose, and rose fragrances aren't usually very deep and emotional smelling. This one is. And I think she deserves a chance. I think she deserves to be talked about because she is different. She's not like other girls out there. She's got her own shit going down. She's got her own thing happening, and she will not conform. She's a nonconformist. If you feel like one, try it out. Perhaps if the notes suit you, it could be your next love. So that's it for today. I have babbled on forever about her. I wish you good luck. Tell me if you've tried Robert Piguet Calypso, because it is not a commonly used, very sort of out there, well-known fragrance. I'm hoping maybe some of my audience had tried it. On the other hand, I might have constructed much of a castle of a story in the sky rather than, yeah, I really veered into the story today, but you know, it's kind of fun for me to do, to really describe what comes to mind when I'm experiencing scents, and you might feel it's entertaining as well. That's it for today. See you guys later. Have a wonderful day and good luck. Bye-bye.